This video right here is almost like an impromptu type video. It's almost, I guess you can say, in response to a recent Petty Pendergrass video that I did involving Sofia Vergara and her new position, or the new position she may get on America's Got Talent. And it was basically, I guess you can say, a slap in the face to Gabrielle Union, considering what she has going on with that company. I was looking through some of the comments and stuff like that, and some of them were basically, laughing at the situation, because a lot of people don't know the running thing that we got going on against Gabby right now, and it's because of how she acted with the whole Nate Parker situation back when Birth of a Nation had came out back in 2016, and a lot of people like to gloss over that. And of course, if you bring it up to certain people in certain parties, then they will say that he deserved it and whatnot, and we're not going to rehash that. But I wanted to talk about this thing where we have a lot of black people who love to thrust themselves or promote this person of color thing. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is because I notice people like Gabrielle Union does that quite often. I've talked about it in a couple of videos, and one of the recent videos that I did do about her, she brought it up again, and she keeps bringing it up all the time. Like, it's very rare that she will bring up her, I guess you can say, her blackness, unless it's of convenience for her. Otherwise, she's always saying POC, POC. And then when she's talking about women empowerment, she's talking about women on a collective scale. She rarely ever talks about just black women. Now, I'm not going to say that she's never talked about it, but she, in recent times, from what I've heard from her, she's always talking about it. Now, Sofia Vergara, despite how many of you would like to categorize her, would fall into the classification of a POC or a WOC, a person of color, woman of color. And by Gabrielle Union's ideology, with the way that she campaigns for POC or WOC, or women, period, she should be proud that Sofia Vergara got this opportunity to host, or to be a judge, I should say, on America's Got Talent. I mean, if we're putting it out there, right? If that's what she constantly likes to promote, she should be happy for her. Am I wrong? Because I don't think so. And a lot of people didn't catch that, because a lot of people don't pay attention to what it is that she says. I do. I listen very carefully or very closely to the things that comes out of her mouth. A lot of it doesn't make sense, but you still have to pay attention to what it is that she says. Gabby actually thinks that she has a lot of people on her side, but when I be reading them comments from articles that were talking about her being fired from AGT, a lot of those people that she probably would throw the cape on for wouldn't throw the cape back on her in a heartbeat. Now, those are just casual people that don't know her from a can of paint, and she doesn't know them. Okay, fine. But they really don't care for her at all. As a matter of fact, you should see some of the things they have said about her. And I bet you those are some of the same people, like I said, she would throw the cape on for. As black people, you have to be very careful when you're throwing around that word POC, or person of color, man of color, woman of color, because they're throwing everybody in there who, of course, is, like the definition says, is non-white, into that category, while it shoves us down even further. We will be left with the crumbs. If it was a table full of food, we would be left with the scraps. We probably wouldn't even get left crumbs. We would be left with the scraps. You know, the part that they throw away, that's left out there for alley cats and stray dogs. That's what we would get. Every time, and the thing is, we try to separate ourselves from that conversation, because every time we integrate into that spectrum, then we always get the raw end of the deal every single time. We get put in the dust behind the Hispanic and Latino, the Arab, the Native American, even the Asian especially, and anybody else who's not classified as palm colored or European, of European descent. But Gabby keeps pushing it out there like she has people on her side. Yeah, she has some of her celebrity friends on her side, and that's about it. But as you can see, AGT has moved on. Like I said in the video, they have moved on from this, and they are looking to fill that spot. Two of them, might I add, from a black woman and a white female. And they basically said why they could not deal with her anymore. Like I said in my previous videos, could it have been some racism involved? Definitely. Because Nick Cannon had some issues with them before he was the host. And he got out before they can give a chance to fire him. But he didn't create, this whole big firestorm and everything. He knew what it was. But see, the thing is, Nick Cannon also had other endeavors. Because, he has connections with the Nickelodeon, which is like his bread and butter. And he also has other endeavors. If Gabby is constantly making all this fuss and noise the way that she is, that just means she doesn't have all her ducks in a row. She just doesn't. She comes off as a person that probably has all her eggs in one basket. So when she got off of AGT and claims that she's working on other projects, then why aren't you working on those other projects and you're still making all this noise with NBC, Universal, and AGT? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Nick just bowed out gracefully and got out before he could get fired, before they get a chance to kick him out. And he pretty much let us know what it was, and we know what it was. Like I said, Gabby could be going through the same exact thing, but she's still pushing on with this. And guess what? AGT is going to do just fine no matter how much she kicks back. They are still going to have the ratings. They are not going to get rid of Simon Cowell because he practically runs that show. He is a ratings draw. Gabby, you were not a ratings pull for this show. And they always said they kept saying there was constant complaints coming about her with this particular show and her being there. Like I said, it could be other reasons, but I think it's even deeper than that than what she's telling. I told y'all about this woman's history, about her wanting to be or playing the mean girl. I don't think that's ever truly left her. And I think she keeps extending that olive branch out to so many people that she runs herself thin. But that's just how I see it. But as it pertains to, I know I kind of got off topic a little bit, but I just had to put that out there again for the people in the back that didn't catch it the first time. But yeah, you have to be extra careful when it comes to talking about this whole POC, person of color thing right here. Because when they say person of color, they're not necessarily talking about us per se. We'll get lumped in there, but a lot of times we don't even want to get lumped in with that, especially if it's something that's going on, because then the first thing they're going to do is probably come down to us. Like I said, we've always been seen as the canary in the coal mine. Still have, always have been, and always will be. Unfortunately, what happens with us, of course, will start to trickle down to other people, and probably worse. Look at that opioid plague. That thing looks worse than the crack epidemic, but we'll see how far it actually goes. But that's really all I wanted to say as it pertains to this. And this, like I said, this is more of a response to that Petty Pendergrass video I did about Sofia Vergara possibly being looked at to be the new host, or not the new host, a new judge on America's Got Talent. But like I said, y'all have to be very careful when you're throwing around that POC terminology, because that's a very vague term, a very vague phrase. And that net gets casted, but rarely do we ever catch whatever's thrown out in that net. Y'all let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you in the next one.